Tell me what I should wear. Doesn't matter, don't care. Disappear slowly. I don't wanna know me. I think I lost touch with me. I think I'm too tired to sleep. Don't know what else to do. Get so sick in my room, so I stare at the floor. I don't know anymore. Who was I before we met and I got bored? All my days are the same. I don't know how to be me. I'm too lonely to hang. I'll text back in a week. I hunt myself. I don't let in the sunlight. How can I tell? Is this my afterlife? Offline, I'm not there. My reflection is a jump scare. If you gotta ask, I'm great. If you wanna meet up, too late. Why you wanna talk to me? No, there's nothing wrong with me. I think that we can all agree. I fucking died socially, so I stare at the floor. I don't know anymore. If you knew me before.
Wait till I tell you everything.
All my days are the same. I don't know how to be me. I'm too lonely to hang. I'll text back in a week. I hunt myself. I don't let in the sunlight. How can I tell? Is this my afterlife? I think it's time to change. New view, but same mistakes. Pack up the thoughts of you left in my room. All my days are the same. I don't know how to be me. I'm too lonely to hang. I'll text back in a week. I hunt myself. I don't let in the sunlight. How can I tell? Is this my afterlife? I hunt myself. I don't let in the sunlight. How can I tell? Is this my afterlife?
Today's guest, founder of Oversight Global, author of Leader Mindset Activation, leadership coach, Angelie Kapoor. So how are you today? Sorry about that little
No worries.
miss
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you.
accident there. So just as I was saying then, 20 years in the healthcare industry. Sorry for asking you the question a second time. What made you get into the healthcare professional?
No worries. Yeah, as I was saying, my mom has been in the healthcare industry, and I have aunts and uncles in the healthcare industry as well. So I just kind of was just naturally shepherd that direction. So that's how that all happened. Luckily I got to stay in there for over 20 years in different things. I got in there as a surgical technologist to begin with, and then I went to
What's that? A surgical technology?
yeah, I don't know if it's the same in the UK as it is here in America, but it's the person who hands the surgeon instruments in surgery. So that's what a surgical tech is. So I got started my healthcare career doing that. And then I got tired of being cold in the OR and never talking to patients while they were awake. So I went to the administrative side. I started as a, entry level receptionist, and then I ended up just kind of naturally progressing my way all the way up the career ladder. And then one day found myself the second in command of a medium-sized medical company. So yeah.
That's crazy. What's some of
Yeah.
the main? Obviously, I've never heard of a technical surgery tech. I've never heard of that. Obviously, you see it in America and like TV shows, pass me the nurse,
Yeah,
scalpel,
exactly.
whatever I don't know if we do have that. I'd imagine we have it in the UK, but I've never heard.
Yeah,
Seen
it might be called something different. Yeah.
What was some of the? I mean, I bet that was a crazy job. Obviously, I bet you've seen some messes
Oh yeah.
doing that. Obviously, I don't really want to get into that too much, but I would imagine that it's pretty. I think people that
Yeah,
get into that job don't. I would imagine don't quite realize until they're like 3/4 of the way through job that they go, man, this is like not really what I was
Yeah,
thinking
yeah, you
it was
definitely
going to
need
be.
to have a strong stomach, and yeah, it's definitely not the same, practicing on plastic dummies in school as it is on actual humans. So,
Well, the plastic dummies don't die, so there's a huge bit of a difference. But I mean,
right, exactly.
I wouldn't ever want that responsibility. Oh, it would be horrendous. So, what made you go from there to starting up and founding Oversight Global?
Yeah, so when I got into the leadership and management ranks of the medical field, one of the things that I really loved about my role and my responsibilities was coaching and mentoring my staff as well as the doctors that I worked with. And so, when I kind of got to a level where I was like, okay, I'm kind of getting tired of the same old, what can I do next? And I decided to pivot into coaching just because that was something that I was really passionate about. So, I left the healthcare field, stopped managing, and got into coaching school. I went to life coaching school for a year. And then, yeah, from there.
That's pretty good. Sorry, I just started a signal drop then. It's okay, I got it. It's not my day today on the tech and on the tech field. It's that, like I said, I'm just going to remind people as well to listen to my 2-hour rant last night from 11 p.m. to 1. Find that on the YouTube channel. It's pretty fun to listen to me talking to myself for 2 hours. Pretty cool. So, what drives you to continue doing it every day? It's with podcasting, I love to just talk to people. That's sort of what drives me. I like to get my own insights into
Mhm.
people and how they think, and it also, you talk to people from all over the world, so it's so varied. What drives you to like want to be a mentor and a coach?
Yeah, so particularly what I do is I'm specifically a leadership coach. And what really drove me to that, it was just my experience from being a manager and then becoming a leader, is that it's, I don't know how it is in the UK, but in America, it companies very much lack the proper training for people who get into positions of authority, like managers and directors and things like that. And so my own personal journey was really frustrating, was very challenging and very difficult. And I observed the same for other people that were getting into those positions as well. And I said, this is really a gap that I feel needs to be addressed. I mean, first of all, people in positions of authority in companies, that's a pretty big responsibility. And when you're
Of
going
course.
into it blindly and unprepared, the disadvantages to that are so numerous, individual struggles as well as costing businesses revenue that they probably don't even realize. And then of course, there's an impacts on communities as well. So I really am motivated by the fact that managers and people in positions of authority do need the proper training, kind of need to go through the proper journey. I always say that leadership is not a destination; it's a journey. And so going through that proper growth transformation, to be able to be somebody who's in a position and is doing a good job and actually making a positive impact rather than a negative one, especially when around the world today we hear about like mental health is a big thing right now, and that plays a big part of it, is having people in leadership roles that actually understand the responsibility that they have of, they have the responsibility of managing other people, and they impact their physical and mental health and well-being every day. So realizing that and being responsible, so that's really what drives me, is that I see this very big need, not just in America, but around the world, for this to be better addressed, and for companies to really take it more seriously when it comes to their leadership and their management teams.
No, I've got you. I mean, I've never had a good boss. I can't count on one hand.
Great.
Terrible. In the UK, I mean, I've mostly worked in like warehouse industries.
Hmm.
I've been a team leader and manager myself. Most of the times when I had managers, they would just be sat in that office doing jack shit. And
Exactly.
we're literally loading trucks, hitting quotas. Oh, you need to get so many on, and it would be so. And it was the same bloke used to work for Hammond's Furniture Company, and I worked there for I don't know about a year. Had an accident there, which was completely the company's fault,
Hmm.
and just absolute slack management. There's moments where we're trying to hit deadlines, and guys just sat there in his office doing basically nothing, and you could just get out for 5 minutes and we're off. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
when I was a team leader myself, I'd make sure that bang and more. I was a hard worker. I'd be there, and I quit doing warehouse in the end because it was just pointless. You
Hmm.
end up doing essentially, if you're in the UK, you do 2 or 3 people's jobs in a standard warehouse position.
Mm.
Managers are rubbish; they're always crap, and I personally don't know how they get into that position at all. Um, I mean, I know a lot of it is like in-house. They do stuff like that. So,
Right, right,
I've known a lot of people that have hired like family members, and you go,
right.
wow, that's pretty, it's pretty sketchy in itself. It's like, oh yeah, I
Exactly.
mean, you get it in America, oh, I'll get my nephew the position or whatever it is. You see it in like sitcoms and shit like that. But it's just, what do you think it takes to be a great leader in the workplace?
Yeah, so the programs that I teach and what I work with my clients on is, in my experience and then also, from the knowledge that I gained from studying leadership and management and stuff like that, it's really about becoming more self-aware. And, I know that sometimes when I say that, people are like, what? Seriously, how is knowing myself better going to make me a better leader? But honestly, it's true. Because again, when you go from being an employee where you kind of have these functional jobs, and your focus is more on you and your goals and what you need to do, and then you get into a position of authority where your approach and your perspective and your skill sets and all of that just changes. It's a totally different ball game. And it really comes from the better you know yourself, the better you're going to lead others. So it's actually kind of cool, I think, that, if you become a good leader of yourself in your own life, then that's going to have this ripple effect and transcend to where you're able to do the same in leading others. So that's really the basis of it is creating awareness and consciousness, that, and that's one of my taglines is, my organization, we address the consciousness crisis that's out there in the world, is really helping people to become more self-aware and more conscious of themselves and what's going on around them in the world and how everything just really kind of connects.
Well, it's just like knowing your own flaws as well.
Exactly.
Some people just go into the position just for a cash reason. They go, oh, brilliant, and a bit of a pay increase, and they don't quite realise that then they're going from a basic position to then managing a team, which is completely different. You can be
Exactly.
one of the best workers on planet Earth, but if you can't manage a small group of 2 or 3 people, that's not really it's not really that impressive. It's
Exactly. And you're hitting the nail right on the head, is that most people get into management positions because of their performance in the job that they were doing previously. But the thing that I have with that is that, those people are being chosen, being promoted based on their previous job performance. But the people that are doing the promoting never look at, do they have the abilities, the capability to, like you're saying, lead other people. And again, it's a completely different approach and perspective and skill set, and even it even utilizes two different sides of your brain.
Would you ever take any? Would you ever take any management advice from shows like The Office? Would you ever
you know,
employ any of their styles? That laid back sort of approach where let a thing go on and
Well, The Office is a great example of kind of what happens in the real world, you know?
It really is as well. I've worked in offices and it's practically like that. I've had bosses that are
Exactly.
like Michael Scott. I've had bosses like that in
Exactly.
the UK. It's crazy.
Yep. Nope.
But no, it's so let's just talk about yourself. You've wrote two books. Obviously, the first one being, I've got a little few notes here, there's some structure. Short tales with real circumstances. Oh no, wait, that isn't yours. That's somebody else's. That's a different note. Different book. It was on the notes. Maybe
Do
I
you want me to
didn't.
help you?
Yeah, go on. I've got your second book, which is the leader mindset activation. I didn't write that first book down. This is, yeah, nope. Just wrote a book down from somebody else. I have no idea how that happened. Yesterday must have been a manic day for notes. That's crazy. That's never happened. That's never happened. That's crazy. This is a very loose show today, folks. Very loose. I've almost taken away all of my professionalism and reduced myself to my prior show 18 months ago. Woo, full professionalism. So let's talk about those two books. Obviously, I've named the second one.
Right.
And
And the first one, yeah, the first one is actually about mindset as well. So it's kind of interesting. My husband was saying, maybe you should just be a mindset coach. But no, my first one was on mindset. The title of it is Mindset, the Power of the Mind. And it was really me just kind of playing around with the idea of writing a book. And it was a subject that at the time I was really passionate about. And again, just kind of making those connections of becoming self-aware, and our minds are so much more powerful than we think they are, that we're really on autopilot, and we really have this programming it's seriously like the Matrix. Like I make a
it's
lot
very true.
of
It's very
yeah,
true.
I make a lot of Matrix examples in my book, because it just, to me it was just like this aha moment of, wow, we are kind of really walking around not having any idea of what's happening. So the first book was more of a generalized introduction to mindset. And then the second book that I just put out last week is actually about a framework that I put together called Leader Mindset Activation. Where, when I was trying to overcome my struggles and challenges as a first time manager, I was kind of like, okay, what's happening? What do I need to do to make this better and feel like I'm doing a good job? And when I discovered mindset, and actually that it's so much more than just a mentality or an attitude, it's actually, we have these, like I was saying, these programs that kind of run on autopilot in our minds. And if we're not aware of them or know how to, use them to our advantage, they kind of pretty much run us. So, I came up with this framework of, becoming aware. So waking up, that Neo moment of, are you going to take the red pill or the blue pill? And then going down that rabbit hole of figuring out, these beliefs I have, are they really mine? When I doubt myself, is it really me doubting myself, or is it my crazy critical inner voice in my head? Um, and then, you kind of go through that phase of consciousness. And then the last phase is really harnessing the power of your mind, really turning things around to where you are now in control, and really being intentional about the type of day that you have, and things like that, instead of, like I said, um, your mind kind of running you and you letting circumstances kind of run your life.
No, I mean that's a really, really good point. I mean, well, when I was first, I spoke about this before. Um, I genuinely believe that there is not like it's not like definitely like Matrix-esque, but I think if you've lived X amount of different lifestyles, and you can almost sort of precognitively work out what's going to happen,
Hmm.
and it's really quite simple. It's something, you get a circumstance, for example, and it's like anxiety. You'll sit there and think about 50 different solutions or problems revolving around that, which
Hmm.
I believe is also your brain forward planning.
Right.
But I think, most people aren't aware that, what you do could have a small ripple effect with 3 or 5 different circumstances, and then
Hmm.
another, and then that branches off and that branches off. But once you've done this so many times, and you'll see patterns, and you'll go, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen next. It's not like you are guessing. It's not like you're magical or chill out, but just because you've lived these circumstances so many times. It's like partners were cheats. You know how those circumstances are going to end up, and you can pretty much practically tell all the telltale signs. And especially if you've been cheated on before, you know.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
there's circumstances like that all over the planet where you could just, if you've gone through it so many times, I think you can pretty much guess what's going to happen way before you're even going to do it. And I think that's
Exactly.
something that people aren't really aware of themselves. And that's
Exactly. Exactly.
it's a strange skill. It's almost like neuro linguistic programming, but you're doing it on yourself, to be quite honest.
Exactly.
Which again,
Exactly.
big fan of that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the examples that I constantly use because it's one that is so, widespread and that people can understand is, you know, everybody goes through multiple attempts to lose weight or to get fit, but we can never do it, right?
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily your fault, it's because your mind has been programmed in a way to where you don't want to get up and work out. You want to lay in bed and sleep in or sit in front of the TV and watch binge watch episodes on Netflix or whatever, even though you know that you should get up and exercise, that you need to stop eating junk food, but your mind is just in this repeated routine and pattern to where that's what it's programmed to do, and it's going to keep making you do it until you make the conscious decision to change your habits and your patterns. So
No,
yeah.
I mean it's very true. I mean, I've got a really quick metabolism, so I struggle to gain weight. Luckily, during my time off, I've somehow switched all my diet up to just meat, and I'm now gaining weight, which is pretty good. Sometimes it's just making those conscious decisions. It's something like I say, you were saying, earlier on, you're starting your day, you get up. Most people don't even have a plan for that day. They
Exactly.
don't have no structure whatsoever. And it's on that same factor that during my time off my show, I didn't really do a great deal. I could have been. I had a long time off. I mean, I was a little bit ill at points, but there's like that time I will never get back again. And I had absolutely zero structure whatsoever. And I
Mhm.
went,
Mhm.
you go from, and it's so easy to get those pitfalls as well and those traps. You can easily just fall into this tiny little trap of being a little bit lazy, look, binge watching. That's the worst.
Right.
You
Right.
can kill a whole day just on one season of something. Literally a whole
Exactly.
a whole day. I've done it myself. It's really,
Mhm.
I even when I am doing research editing, I've always got something on. Sometimes,
Right.
mostly it's documentaries or a lot of random crap. To be quite honest, depends what's. But I binge watch myself, but it's all that structure as well. I can spend 12 hours with screen time, but I can also do loads and loads of other things around that because I'm
Right.
aware.
Exactly.
Because I'm aware that yeah, okay, I can sit here and listen to a podcast or watch one, um, but I could also do loads and loads of other things at the same time. It's almost like people have forgot how to multitask, and they've also lost all their attention span as well. It's pretty crazy that the attention span's gone down and multitasking's not really it's not really your thing anymore. You know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, another great point that you made is that people, like you were saying, just don't have structure for their day. And again, it's that's just that lack of awareness. Just that lack of awareness.
So I mean, my mornings are a little bit chaotic sometimes. What would you say is the best way to start your day? Because most people just get up, cup of coffee, crack on. I don't think that is the best way. What would you say is the best way to start your day off? If you was in a leadership position, you wanted to go into the company to, be proactive and productive, uh, how would you start your day?
Yeah, actually, it's great that you bring that up because it's one of the things that I teach with clients and in my programs. I actually have a course on it called Rituals of Greatness. So, yeah, I mean, just again, creating that awareness and consciousness that if you were more intentional about what you do, so really thinking about being cognitive of like how you want to spend your time and your energy, right? So, really just like you're saying, create a structure for your day. Like for me, for example, like when I years ago when I was in my first management position, I kind of did the same thing. I woke up and my day was so chaotic. I had no idea, what I was doing. I just kind of let things happen to me. Whatever was going to happen during my day was going to happen. But when I learned that, I was doing some research and I found out that one of the top secret things that the most successful people around the world have is that they all have a morning routine. Like you're saying, they wake up with a structured schedule of what to do. And so I started to create that for myself. And I mean, it changed things around for me in so many ways. But, and I still continue to do that today. But yeah, my morning is structured. So, I mean, I get up at the same time every morning, I go to bed at the same time every night. Because our bodies like structure and waking up at the same time and stuff like that. And then I'm really intentional about feeding my mind and my body as well as my spirit. So, I journal, I meditate, I do some energy work. I make sure that I have a really nutritious, healthy breakfast, and things like that. I make sure that I exercise. So, yeah, I mean, it's really kind of dependent on the person and what they feel they need. But again, it's just creating that structure and that intention in the morning.
When you say energy work, delve a little bit more into that, just for the list.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not sure. 'Cause I know when people say energy, sometimes people are like that
It
woo
can be
woo
really,
crap.
well, not necessarily that. It can be so broad because I'm quite spiritual myself. I believe in
Yeah,
all sorts of wacky things. So trust
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. And let me tell you, years ago, I was one of those people that was like yoga, meditation, what? But yeah, now I'm totally a yogi and I meditate every day. But yeah, when I say energy, like you're saying, there's kind of this broad spectrum of what people refer to as energy. Is it energy like you're energetic and really lively and you have some good mojo for the day, or is it meditating and making sure you're clearing your energy fields and your chakras and stuff like that. So for me, it's I've really discovered in my life that there we do have energy that at we vibrate at different frequencies, and where you're vibrating and what type of energy you have, whether that be positive or negative, really affects you and things going on around you. So I'm, in the morning, I do some energy clearing. I also do some energy alignment and balancing and things like that. So for me, those are my energy practices. But I know that, if somebody doesn't believe in that type of thing, then they're kind of like, it's kind of like speaking a foreign language.
But I mean, even then, it's all. I see all the benefits with meditating. I actually can't cross my legs. Like I can't sit
Oh, really?
cross-legged. No, I really can't. My hips are very strained. For some reason, I've never been able to do it.
Oh, wow.
I've tried many times. So
Mm-hmm.
when I meditate, I'll have to sort of sit there like with my ankles sort of crossed, but my hands like that, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's the same difference really. But it's I haven't done it for a while. I used to do it mostly to just trick my own brain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I used to do like a big fan of NLP, obviously neuro linguistic programming,
Uh-huh.
and used to have tons and tons of addictions, and I practically used that on myself to basically get rid of all these drug addictions.
Oh,
Um,
that's awesome.
I also was an insomniac, and I again used that to trick myself into these weird sleep patterns, and it was many years ago now. I've not done it in a while, but I believe that any form of just sitting there and self-reflecting and having no tech around you, it's all beneficial. Not just
Yeah, definitely.
not just mentally, but physically as well. It,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of stuff at the moment with iPhones and radiation. That was
Right.
in the news the other day, and people don't quite realize that the screen is just pumping radiate. I mean, this room that I'm sat in now is probably packed full of these small little, frequencies all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And, what effect is that having? Who knows? But, just taking a little bit of time away from tech, and just sitting and reflecting. I mean, I love going for a walk and I'll just sit there in the woods for like an hour. You know, I'll
Oh
just
yeah. Oh
chill
yeah.
it. Even like there's a really nice graveyard near me, and I'll happily go and sit. Sounds pretty crazy, but there's a really cool big tree, and I'll just go and sit there on a bench for 45 minutes, an hour, and they're just why not? I think people need to take a bit more time to reflect. What
Oh yeah, I think so. Especially in nature, because nature is you get grounded when you're around in nature, because that's how we're supposed to be. We're beings um that are connected to nature on the earth. So, we can't be cooped up in these concrete metal buildings all day long, and think that we're gonna be okay. Yeah, I mean, you need to go out and connect and be around nature and I mean that's just part of who we are. So
Have you heard of like grounding, where you basically,
yes,
you're walking basically on the grass, no
exactly.
shoes?
Hmm.
That's something that I see that people go, oh, that's woo woo, but why would it? You're literally walking on the earth.
Yes.
Shoes are great, but I remember a few summers ago, I was up north for myself, little weekend away, just wanted to go out camping for the weekend. And I remember walking along, and it was boiling hot day, and I was just like, I'm going to just take my shoes off. Like, didn't no thoughts behind it whatsoever. A big rucksack on, and that was on tarmac.
Hmm.
Absolutely boiling, but I was a little bit painful. But after, I must have been walking for about an hour,
Hmm.
and after I sat down, I was like, that was really good. I was like, there's a weird sort of, I don't know what it was. Still don't know. Obviously now know it was probably to do with the grounding thing. But at the time, I was like, man, why did that feel just so? It was a painful little journey. I mean, I had a massive, huge rucksack on. I was sweating. It was crap. But after I was like, wow, that was really, really good. And I felt. I mean, it's hard to say how I felt, to be quite honest. Not like at one with nature or anything like that, but just certainly a bit more aware of like, oh, that was, here's my surroundings. I'm out in nowhere.
Hmm.
It was really. I think people should take more time to do stuff like that. I
Yeah,
mean,
definitely.
most people now they do a holiday and it's just the beach, which is great. It's cool, but you're not really doing a lot but sitting on sand and drinking most of the time.
Exactly.
That's all that's all the people do. Get pissed up and go drown in the sea most of the time because for some reason most people that go to the sea don't even swim, which is crackers nowadays. I don't. This is the mentality of the world. That's like going rock climbing with zero skills, no ropes. Yeah, I'll be
Yep.
fine. Why not?
Hmm.
Why would you go into the sea if you can't swim? Anyway, that's a topic for a different show for myself. I'm going to bring that back up again. Trust me.
Don't get it twisted, lean and listen. I'm not the victim, this is the vision. To tear down the system and rewrite the anthems. This is a symptom, a sign of resistance. Blood in a blister, I know that I'm gonna die when I'm older. But what is my life if I don't have a mission? I don't wanna die, stay in line and look alive. I don't wanna live if I'm running for my life. I don't wanna die, I don't wanna die. This is 25, read the sign and not revive. 21 going on 25. I will not live if I'm just surviving. A quarter of my life is dead. And so is the option of revising. Breathing and living and breathing out. The beat will go on when I'm not around now. The time that I spend is a moment, so hold it and focus on how we should opt to devote it. Alone in the grave for a century. Alone in the grave in a century. Observing the value of misery and what's in my life mean publicly. Now all my trophies are on display. I wear a disguise, so you think of safe. I tie the trophies and I contemplate. Is it life or death that I hate? I don't wanna die, stay in line and look alive. I don't wanna live if I'm running for my life. I don't wanna die, I don't wanna die. This is 25, read the sign and not revive. Strong, silent type as most dead men are. Wanna start a riot and a fire in my dead heart. I talk to myself all day. I don't really wanna hear what I have to say. When I was a kid I thought it might go far. Now I just feel lucky that I'm still at large. If I ever make it, send in my regards. Cause I'm standing at the intersection waiting for the cars. I'm super sensitive, I need a sedative. Time is venomous, fighting is primitive. Inverted negative, Not what you said it is. Am I a part of it? Carved in a monument. I'm super sensitive. I need a sedative. Time is venomous. Fighting is primitive. Oh, inverted negative. Not what you said it is. Am I a part of it?
You can have your city life. I'd be content to spend the rest of my life just lying here on my back drinking black coffee, 50 miles from me. You guys were singing a song about that, and I feel go to the bunkhouse. Jody, what was it? Yeah, hand me that guitar. Come on, boys, let's sing.
I don't wanna die staying lying with a lie. I don't wanna live if I'm running for my life. I don't wanna die. I don't wanna die. This is 25, redesigned and not revised.
Well, one thing that's a big problem, obviously, in the world at the moment is like homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, we're talking about morning routines and structure. Now, I would imagine that routine is absolute carnage. What would be your advice for someone that's homeless to try and get a routine and structure to then get off the streets? Because it's almost kind of the same advice you would give a leader, because they need to prop themselves up, they need to take accountability for some stuff, if that's the position, and they're on drugs, obviously. But what sort of advice would you give to a person like that?
Well, no, I mean, I think it's great that you bring that up because even though I, specifically work with people who are leaders in the workplace and in business, one of the things that I do believe and I do talk about is that it's not just leadership in your professional life or in, the workplace. It's actually, we are able to be leaders of our own lives. So, like I said earlier, leaders of ourselves. And so it's not just, just for being at work, it's also in your life in general. So I think it's great that you bring that up, that the same, philosophy isn't just applicable to people in suits and ties that are in conference rooms all days. It's also for, stay-at-home moms, homeless people like you're mentioning. So yeah, I mean it's the same advice that I would give somebody who is in that suit and tie in a building, it really takes that becoming aware, that self-awareness and just being conscious of the things around you, where you're at, and also having the intention of knowing, this is the goal that you want to achieve and then being intentional about these are the steps that I need to take in order to achieve that goal. I mean, for a homeless person, it might be, they want to get off drugs and get back into having a home and a stable job. So, think about, first of all, you need to create that awareness that, why are you on the streets homeless? Why are you addicted to drugs? Is it because of something that happened in your childhood? Is it about something, maybe your marriage fell apart? I mean, it could be various things, but really creating that awareness and finding that root cause of why is this continuing to happen day after day, and then just making that conscious decision to stop that pattern and create a new story for yourself, and then just taking the intentional steps from there to do it.
I mean, it's such well, it's a major issue in the UK and America at the moment. It's crazy because reading the news today, and there was a literal wall of garbage in
Mm.
London. And
Oh,
when I
wow.
mean a wall of garbage, it was practically a wall. You know, all that stuff with the borders in America, they could ship that whole pile of garbage and build a wall out of that. That I am not kidding you. It was the worst amount of
Mm.
trash I've ever seen. And I don't understand how the world's getting to that. I mean, there's plenty of positions. One thing you never see anymore is street cleaners. I haven't seen
Oh,
one of those.
right. Yeah.
I haven't seen one of them in years.
Hmm.
And the last time I think I saw one several years ago, and the guy was just, sweeping up the road and stuff was going everywhere. It was a mess. I think there's so many positions and jobs that have kind of just diminished or gone, or they've been replaced by obviously, robot workers and stuff like that, and
Right.
especially in the machine industry,
Hmm.
and engineering and stuff. But you know, I think that there needs to be like a real serious like reevaluation of a lot of countries, and they need to look at the whole infrastructure and go, okay, because this is the why it's a mess, because it's the whole infrastructure is a mess. People's pockets are getting clearly lined, which is,
Right.
you know, why there's a second problem of the homelessness. And the mess as well. You know, there's so much that could be done, but there's just there's no oversight really from the government. There's nothing at all in place. Going back to, you know, oversight,
Exactly.
and it's global as well. You know,
Exactly. Yeah, no, I mean, again, you were making so many amazing points is that I mean, even in our own governments, there is lack of people in these positions that, they don't know what they're doing. That's why we're seeing all these different issues all around the world, which is again takes me back to why I got into leadership coaching and why I'm so passionate about it is again, if you don't have the right skills and capabilities to be in a position that you're in, look what happens.
well, I mean, I don't mean to slander the president of the United States, but that's not really a leader right now.
Well, I agree with you.
I
Yeah.
would. It's tricky. I mean, I'm not really that political, not massively. I mean, obviously, this is a big thing coming up, presidential election again. What's your thoughts? What thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not a big political person either. I mean, I have my own opinions and my own thoughts about it, but I'm not somebody who's, going to tell other people what their opinion should be or how they should think. I think, with the past few elections that we've had, that's the major problem that I've been kind of seeing is that, people are going out there and they're, being told what they should think, what their opinion should be, instead of, again, being leaders of their own lives and taking control of their own minds, thoughts, and opinions, and, really making an evaluation, an assessment, and a decision that is their own and not this group think that has, movement that's kind of happened. It's, I mean, I can't think of how many times, I've seen YouTube videos of people who are out there doing these protests. And then when somebody goes in there and says, well, what are you protesting today? Oh, I don't know. Oh, well, why are you out there? What is the point?
Paid
So,
protesters.
exactly. Yeah. So, I
And
mean,
that's a real
that's
thing.
probably, yeah, that's probably my biggest beef with how elections have been going lately. I don't know if that's the same in the UK, but definitely here is that I'm just, I'm you know, I can't even think of the word, but yeah, it's concerning that there's this huge movement of people not really thinking for themselves. It's just following what's popular or following because their favorite celebrity said, oh, think this or say that. That's what they do. And so yeah, just getting back to that individualism and being a leader of yourself again.
Well, it's amazing how many like rappers were endorsing presidents and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And you
Yeah.
know,
So like yeah, movie stars. Yeah.
people, especially movie stars, you know, it's crazy because people are so easily manipulated, led. You know, they are. It's so tricky to even gain some sort of individuality now. You know,
Right.
every there's, you know, all these little cliques and tribes of people, and everyone's sort of at war with each other for reasons that are pretty unfathomable. To be honest, they're all issues that no one really cares about, and it's all propped up by a lot of, you know, podcasters and people like that, and they'll just go, yeah,
Exactly.
this is my take on it. Cool, that's great. But you know, meanwhile the channel's got like 7 million people listening, and that's a lot of people that you can, you know, that are listening to what you've got.
Influence.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course, yeah,
yeah.
of
Yeah, I
course.
think you make a great point that, people who are in positions to where they have this high influence, really be conscious of what it is that you're possibly instilling into people. So yeah, that's a great point.
Well, I mean, it's happening quite a lot. Obviously, the presidential elections coming up, which, you know, that's going the next 9 months is going to be it's going to be absolute carnage. So let's just get back into talking about the healthcare industry. What do you think? What do you think about the pharmaceutical sales reps. Because I've always been fascinated, and I actually wouldn't mind doing that job. it's it's very well paid. I don't understand. It's
Well, yeah, I mean, as the cost of healthcare in America is horrendous. It's the most expensive in the world. And actually, I'm in Bali, Indonesia right now. And we've been here for several months. And man, I mean, people when I was in America, the hugest concern that we had when it came to having a job was health insurance. Do I get health insurance to help cover my medical costs? Does it cover my family? Those types of things. And then, like, here I'm in Indonesia and they don't even have that, because the healthcare here is so cheap. And it's so I mean, my opinion of, like the pharmaceutical industry and things like that is that um it's a business.
do they
And
do they have reps like
they're
that?
looking in America, of course. Yeah, here in Indonesia, I haven't seen one. I don't know if they do or not.
Yeah,
Um,
I know we've got them in the UK. I don't know if it's just seems more like a West thing. I don't know.
yeah, yeah, that's what I'm thinking, is that it's more of a westernized thing, and I think that's why healthcare in Western countries are just so much more expensive than they are in other places. But yeah.
We've got obviously huge waiting lists in the UK. What's it like in Indonesia for the healthcare? Obviously, you said it was a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, there's not really a wait list for anything. I mean, here, it's not just in healthcare, but kind of everywhere. You don't need an appointment for anything. You just kind of show up. Yeah, you do. You just kind of show up when you want a haircut, or get your hair colored, or have your nails done, or get a massage, or a doctor's appointment. You don't need an appointment. You just kind of show up, and if there is a line, then you have to wait. But if there isn't, then hey, yeah, you get to be seen right away. But yeah, that's definitely an adjustment for me. As you know, in America, we need an appointment for everything. So, but here, when we first moved here and I started calling around saying, "Oh, can I make an appointment for?" "Oh, you don't need an appointment. Just come on in." So yeah, yeah, that's a big difference.
What was the well, if it's too personal, if you don't answer, is there any reasons for the move to Indonesia?
Um, you know, my husband and I had been talking about it for a few years, that it was here in Bali. I don't know if you're familiar with Bali. It's
Yeah, it's funny because my mum's actually there on holiday right now.
Oh, is she?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
she's
very,
actually
very
there.
popular, yeah, very popular tourist destination. It's beautiful here. But we had actually been talking about, moving here for a couple of years, but you make excuses because you don't want to get out of your comfort zone, or you have some fears about making that type of leap. And finally, we just said, you know what? Enough excuses. We're just gonna do it. So we did. We packed up and sold all our stuff and rented our house in like 3 weeks, and then we hopped on a plane and moved here. And of course, at first it's scary, but you start to get used to things and adjusting. And yeah, we love it here. It's amazing.
I mean, this is the second time my mum's been. She went like maybe last year, about the same time. Absolutely loves the place.
Hmm.
She's gone there for like 12 days or something like that.
Yeah.
My only issue with her going there is when she goes abroad quite a lot, and it's the price of a pack of cigarettes in the UK, super expensive. So I go, oh, make sure you bring me some duty free back, please, mum. And the last time she went to Bali, I think she had like a stopover in Dubai or somewhere like that.
Uh-huh.
And it was just like Marlboro cigarettes and all these. Obviously, I smoke Richmond cigarettes. They don't sell them out there, so I was like, oh, that's my only problem with my mum going to Bali, is the fact that
They don't have your brand of
yeah, they
cigarettes.
don't have my brand of cigarette. They don't have my brand of cigarette. Like, it really makes a difference and affects my mum's holiday and life. But so what's some of the drop my pen. What's some of the main problems and journeys? What's some of the main things that you've had to overcome problems wise during your journey?
Yeah, so journey to becoming a manager, coach, moving to Bali. Which one?
Just in terms of being a leadership coach and moving from the positions, various positions. Because I ask this to most coaches and mentors, just because most people don't realize that they are like still human, you know, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
although they they can deliver and not necessarily have hardships themselves, but most people don't realize that they've had to go through a journey and struggle to be able to be so excelled at what they're doing now. If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. No, I mean, you make some great points again. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely been through a journey and I think one thing for people to understand, I have to continuously tell my clients this is that, when you get on a journey of transformation and self-awareness, again, there's no destination. It's continually moving and you're continually progressing. So it never stops. I mean, just because I reached a point where I went from struggling in my management position to figuring out how to overcome the challenges that I was having and feeling really confident and comfortable in my position. And now being able to do what I do now, that was definitely a journey. I mean, who I am today is like I don't even recognize who I was 10 years ago. That's like a completely different person. So yeah, you do go through some challenges and overcome some struggles and do a lot of transformation, but even today I still have challenges. And one of the things that I have become aware of is that there you actually still continue to go through and have the same challenges. It's that you've learned to become aware of them, you've learned to manage them better, you've learned to be able to overcome them better. Like I was dealing with a marketing issue that I was having last week, and I recognized that if I was the person that I was a few years ago, that would have like plagued me with being depressed and me giving up, things like that. I would for the rest of the week would just been down about, oh my God, this isn't working. What am I going to do? But instead it's like, looking at a failure or a challenge differently. So I kind of sat and I was like, okay, this isn't going to work. And then, kind of moped around for 10 minutes and said, okay, what can we try now to get this to work? So, just again, kind of shifting mindsets and really having a day-to-day maintenance of your mindset and building up your confidence to where you can just kind of have that resilience to where if something negative or bad happens, you can just turn right around and keep going with your day instead of it negatively impacting you to where you're depressed and moping around for days on end. Like that's how I used to do things. But yeah.
What characteristics and traits do you think make a good leader?
Yeah. So there are three that I typically tend to mention. Again, somebody who is highly self-aware. I won't continue to beat that horse up because I've done it enough this show. But yeah, I mean, self-awareness is huge. I'm telling you. If you're skeptical at all about trying it, I challenge you to just take a few minutes to try and get to know yourself. Ask yourself questions. Do I know who I really am? Do I know what my core values are? Do I know what my priorities are? And I mean, most people are shocked because they're like, oh my God, I don't. The values that I'm always thinking that are my values are actually my company's values or my mom's values, things like that. What I thought were my priorities and my desires were actually somebody else's because that was their expectation for me. So yeah, I mean, I really challenge you to ask yourself those questions and see what happens. The couple of other qualities are somebody who is able to um, again bounce back from challenges very quickly and who isn't who people who aren't afraid to take risks, really switching that mindset of failing is bad. We're not allowed to fail, we're not allowed to ask for help, those types of things. Really realizing that failing is actually a good thing because when you fail at something you learn from that and then you're able to make the adjustments that you need to make the progress that you need to achieve whatever it is that you're trying to do. And then also somebody who has the awareness of the human experience. And I think that's really lacking in people who are in positions of authority, because again, we tend to, especially in westernized countries, we tend to get wrapped up in being identified by a job title. You know, I know for me, for years, that was, I'm a manager, I'm a leader. But when that gets stripped away from you, who are you
Yeah, of
really?
course.
Yeah, yeah. So just having an awareness of the human experience and knowing that life is more than just a corner office. So
Are there any leaders, current or in history, that you could get, that you can look at and go, oh, that's a really good leader, you know? It could be anybody real, really, to be honest. I mean, it's a really tricky question.
I know, I know.
I mean,
No.
I don't even really know if I would give a good answer for that. I don't know. That's a tricky one.
No, I mean, actually, if you look at some of the most successful people in the world today, they all have components of being a good leader, or else, they wouldn't have been able to accomplish the success that they have. I mean, even so, I mean, obviously, like Donald Trump has his, issues that he needs to work on, because he's not, by my definition, or I think anybody's, a perfect leader
No,
by any means. But he does have some qualities, or else he wouldn't have been able to get to where he is. You know what I mean? So he does have some qualities, but obviously there are things that he needs to improve on. Somebody like Elon Musk. Um, you know, so again, I think we can look at different people right now that are leaders that are in the spotlight, and they possess qualities of great leaders, but they also have their shortcomings. And the thing about that is I believe that they know that. And again, I think it goes back to the point that even when you have reached a point of where people are looking at you like you are very successful, and again, success doesn't equate perfection. Perfection doesn't really exist.
no.
There isn't the perfect person, there isn't the perfect circumstance. But yeah, I mean I think that really points to everybody's human, and we're all on our own journeys and in our own growth processes.
Well, I mean, most things as well. I mean, people always aim for perfection, but
Right.
it's people's imperfections that people get attracted to most of the time. And
Exactly.
that's
Exactly.
kind of. I mean, at the moment, one of the things I find really funny is, you just said you can't be perfect. You've got these women that can do makeup tutorials where they look absolutely nothing like what they used to look like. Crazy, some of the most craziest catfishing
Yeah, I've
ever
seen that.
seen.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't know what I don't know what that person's train of thought is when they're doing that. Like, I really don't understand how, because it's a completely different face sometimes, and it's maddening that, like, I wish I could get away with that, to be quite honest. Give me a different face. Give me a brand new face. Let's see how that works. But it's those people, you look at them, and most of the time they're not that bad looking, but I would be more attracted to the person who is not got all this 20 tons of different faces on, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
And again, it's these little imperfections and stuff like that that, you know, people are not really, you don't really see it much now as well. Everything's all, what's the word? Well, everyone wants to just basically be an influencer, and to do that, you need to look at the 10-10. It's like the people that shave their teeth down to get the veneers. I'm like, that's
Mhm.
madness. It looks horribly fake as well. It looks crazy. I mean, I'm English. I don't have the best teeth, but I would never go, I'll tell you what I'm going to do today. I'm going to get a nail file and just put them into little tiny pegs.
Mhm.
Like, that's how kind of, chaotic the world is now, you know?
Right. Right.
And, again, self-awareness is, whew, I don't think there is really any. to be honest. So let's just touch upon one more little subject. What's your next plans? What have you got? You've got any more books on in the pipeline? What would be the next sort of steps for yourself if you could plan your next year and have it turn out however you wanted based on your plan? What would be your next steps? What would be your goal?
Yeah. I mean, I do actually do have some things in the works. I've been working on perfecting my coaching experience. I've always been a one-on-one coach, working with people individually, and now I'm getting into group coaching. So I'm hoping to launch that next month, actually. So you can be looking out for that. And then I do have another book that I'm working on. I'm about halfway through, and it's actually a spiritual mindset
Oh,
book.
cool.
So yeah, so really talking about, um, I don't know if you're religious at all, but it's going to be geared towards Christians who, you
I
know,
am somewhat religious.
mm,
I class myself more as a pagan than anything. To be quite, I believe that there is a God.
hmm
I believe that people should have their own beliefs. I also think, if you don't
right,
believe there's nothing, it's fair play. Um, but I think, even like Egyptian gods, all that, I go way, way deep into all of that. But I don't think there's any sort of real term. So I just pagan. It's just easier as a term. So I am quite religious and spiritual in some aspects. So that'd be a cool book. Sorry, carry on.
yeah. No, I was just saying that, from my own experience as a Christian, and also, watching and observing other Christians as well. It's kind of the same thing as going through a leadership transformation. Is that you get saved, and then you just are kind of left to figure it out on your own. And
Of course.
so, again, you need that guide and that help on what you should do next and how you can grow as a Christian. So that's
I
what the
mean,
book is focused on.
I have got a book of New Testament and Psalms here. So,
Oh, awesome.
so, so even
Yeah.
then, it's occasionally, I'll flick through it, and my partner will go, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Just reading the Proverbs, man. It's good, just for fun. What up, It's a Sunday. What do you want me to do? I'm chilling today. I'm gonna read the Proverbs." But no, in terms of like religion, it's I'm completely open to all interpretations. You know, and I mean the thing with Christianity is I've always been fascinated by it, especially now I've got older. Um, I remember getting taught religious education in school, and
hmm
it's a class. It was meant to be an easy class where you could just get an instant C. Instant C. Got an E. Got an E. So that's how as a 16-year-old doing GCSEs, I could have been guaranteed that C, and it was a guarantee, and I purposely chose to just dismantle all the
hmm
questions and failed failed one of the actual grades. But as I've got older, it always fascinates me, all the stories. They've all got moralistic tales behind them, and I think that people I think people nowadays should be a little bit more religious anyway. Over maybe the last 20 years, maybe there's definitely been a decline in
Oh
terms
yeah.
of in terms of Christianity.
hmm
I'm not sure if it's the biggest religion in the world anymore. At one point, it was, I think. Um, but I, I just think that people need some sort of moral compass, and they can get it from religion, be it whichever it is, and it's better to at least put some sort of faith into it rather than not at all. I mean, imagine if there is some sort of afterlife, and you've just blown it all off for 90 years
Exactly.
for 90 years of your life based upon not knowing anything. I
hmm
mean, that's why as I'm getting older, I'm like, I'm not so sure. I'd rather let's just put my chips on the table just to be on the safe side.
Right. Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, if anything, this is probably more the hell now that we're in. You know, that's
Hmm.
who knows. That's my thoughts. You know, heaven and a hell, is that a real thing? I don't know. If
Right,
anything, this
right.
would be more of the hell for some people. I mean,
Yeah.
especially the, like we're saying earlier, the homeless. Terrible situation, terrible life.
Hmm.
But imagine that's your life now, and then you die, and what would the hell be like after that? Because if that was what it is now, and you're living through this really shitty existence, and there's a hell, oh my god, that would be, you can't really put it to tails. It'd be horrible,
Right,
absolutely
right.
horrendous. What do you believe that in a heaven and a hell as such?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely do. Definitely do. Yep.
What's your thoughts on? Because one of the things, people take the piss out of Christianity a lot as well, and they go, yeah, the rules have changed. What was a sin years ago isn't a sin now. So, if heaven's real, are you going to see? I don't know who they made a joke about it being now. It's not my joke, by the way. I can't remember who it was, but all these basically horrible figures from history, and or I think some might have been somebody. It might have been Ricky Gervais actually, about the
Oh, probably.
like homosexuality. I think it was on about that, because obviously it used to be a sin. Now it's not. So where are all the gay people and all? But
Hmm.
what's your thoughts on that? Because it's kind of like, if they've got all these rules and the rules change, how it's, I don't know how that would really work in terms of the structure of up and
No,
down.
I hear you. Yeah, I mean, I definitely, being a Christian, I definitely believe in heaven and hell, but I mean, that's definitely something again that I touch on in my new book that's coming out with the spiritual mindset, is that again, there's um people in leadership positions who don't know what they're doing even in religious institutions. And again, it's that's why I do what I do. It's my biggest beef is that people are in these positions that shouldn't be there, because they themselves have not gone through the growth and the transformation that they need to be able to help others do that, and that includes pastors and reverends and rabbis. I mean, I really think that you know every religion has a great book that it refers to, that is supposed to teach you and help you navigate through life according to those religious philosophies and concepts. But m- men, and when I say men, I mean people, have been put in charge of conveying these books teachings to their followers. And you don't think that they haven't changed the rules?
Yeah.
They're changing them constantly. That's like what you're saying, is that things are constantly changing. And it's, my husband is Hindu, and he has the same thing where, you know, things get changed, but is that really what the good book says? Probably not. But because we have leaders in these institutions that they have different agendas than what they really should be doing, what their real sacred mission is. That's why we have even these problems in religion as the same that we do in government and in corporations. Is it's all about the leadership, people.
Just a random off topic. What do you think about exorcists?
um I don't know too much about them, honestly, because it's that's not just something that I've ever dove into to get to know more about it. But I mean, um
It's just a really strange, obviously, because you get these Christian
it
exorcists.
is.
And you wouldn't think that they would, because it's like, it's tricky. You wouldn't think that they would believe in it as such, but yet it's a real thing. And I mean,
Well, I think we're talking about the like supernatural type of things here
yeah, of
now,
course, yeah.
and I mean, I do believe that there are like you know because I believe in energy. I believe that there are some bad entities out there, and being a Christian, in fact, that's one of the things I'm talking about in my spiritual mindset book, is that you know the enemy, most of us, know him as the devil, is using our greatest weapon against us, which is our own minds.
Yep.
Again, goes back to mindset. So, your inner critic is the devil whispering in your ear. You're being easily manipulated because he's using your own mind against you. So, I mean, stuff like that. So, I definitely think that type of energy, and there is that type of like spiritual warfare that we as people are in the middle of on a daily basis. So I do believe in that. And I know, again, it can be a concept that's hard to wrap around if that's not something that you're into. But yeah, I mean, it's just a different perspective of seeing things.
I mean, it's again, occasionally just hit up on random little spooky topics or stuff like that. It's just I always just get that like people's perspective. Like I said, it's I mean, I kind of believe in the supernatural fully. I believe so much that I don't believe. That whole. I've seen loads of wacky, weird stuff myself to the point where I go, no, this can't be real. Fuck it, done. like that's my belief system is like believe, but we can't. And one other thing, obviously going back to the just the energies. I don't know if you've ever seen these. They sell like glasses where you can apparently see people's energies. Like,
Really?
yeah, I don't know where they sell them. It's like they're like red lens, like really, really dark red lenses, and apparently you can see energies and stuff like that. I can't remember where they sell them. I actually want to get a pair. I don't know if you'd obviously known about them being into energy. I'm going to find those and try and get a set for the next show. Well, listen, this has been very, very fun. Very, very loose. Very loose show today. I've tried to get. I do try and keep some structure with my notes. But it's very fun talking to you. I've got to
No,
go.
thanks. You too.
I've got to go and do some shopping. More fun for the day. Where can people follow you? Where can people find your content? Where can people check out your show?
Yeah. So my website is oversightglobal.com, and oversight is OVERSIGHT, and then global.com. So that's my website. And then all of my handles, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, it's all at oversightglobal.com or at oversight global. So yeah, that's where they can find me.
No, that's perfect. Well, I'd love to have you back on the show when your next book comes out. Would love to
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
go again in the future. Well, listen, this has been the Postman Podcast, Season 3. I've been your host, Tim Turner. Today we've been here with Angelie Kapoor. Thank you very much for coming on, and I'll catch you next time, people. Thank you very much.
Call me pretty gold star, say I do the most. Got the memo, drop the M, now everybody knows. Now I'm like 2 years in and I'm scared of playing shows. My reflection's on the table and I'm ready to indulge. New clothes, bad loans, roots still tied. Stay in line and look alive, 25 to life. Ask if I'm enjoying it, but I don't wanna lie. I'm planning on my funeral, but I don't wanna. Hey, put your hands up if you feel a little nervous for us. Put your hands up if you feel like you deserve it. Tell me, are we having fun yet?
Are we having fun yet? Are we having fun yet?
So are we having fun yet? I wanna be the thing you talk about. Unhinged, loose ends, crashing on the couch. Outsider pony boy, can you keep it down? Cause I'm getting bad thoughts when you're not around. Hey, put your hands up if you feel a little nervous for us. Hey, put your hands